Alright guys, so let's recap and go over what you've done together, or I guess on your own, based on what we've covered so far together. So, we can think of fraction multiplication as finding part of a fraction or finding a fraction of a fraction. So let's review how we would represent our first problem, 2/3 times 1/4. We'll start off by thinking of this problem as finding 2/3 of 1/4. First, we would want to represent 1/4. What should that look like on your rectangle? It should look like the rectangle split into 4 equal sections with 1 out of those 4 equal sections shaded. Then we want to find 2/3 of that 1/4. That should have looked like you splitting those fourths, or the 1/4 that you shaded, splitting those into 3 equal parts and shading 2 out of 3 of those parts. So we split it into 3 equal parts, and then we shade 2 out of 3 of those parts. So this visual representation, or this area model, helps us to find the solution of 2/3 times 1/4 by showing us that 2/3 of 1/4 is 2 out of 12 pieces total. So to the right, we see an area model that represents the next problem, 1/6 times 3/4. Where do you see 3/4 in this model? Is it yellow or red? If you said yellow, you are correct. If you look, there are 4 equal sections that have been split in columns here on this rectangle, and 3 out of those 4 have been shaded. And the 1/6 is represented in the red. If you look, we have 6 rows that were created. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1 out of 6 of those rows were shaded. And where do you see the 3/24 here? That's right. If you said the squares where the yellow and the red overlap, that gives us our numerator of 3. And then 24 is the number of parts we created in the whole area of that rectangle. 5/8 of 1/3 equals 5/24. So where do you see the 1/3 here in this model? Yellow or red? Once again, our first fraction is shown in yellow. If we look, we've got 3 rows that were created and 1 was shaded in yellow. The 5/8 is represented in red, and we can look and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 columns that were created, and 5 of those were shaded. Now, if you want to shade the whole column, that is totally fine. Just remember that our answer is where the 2 colors overlap. So where do we see the 5/24? We see it where those 2 colors overlap, the red and the yellow. So what patterns do you notice in all of our solutions to these problems? My hope is that you see that the area model matches our answer if you are counting only the squares where the 2 colors overlap, and we can always check our answers using the algorithm. Remember, if we multiply our numerators and put that as the numerator, and then we multiply across to get the denominator. That tells us how many parts we're going to create if we split our 3/4 into 6 to take 1/6 of that part of the whole away. Oh, and that is for tomorrow. All right, guys. I'm going to give you a couple practice problems to work on your own, and then you are free for today, free from math. Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow.